All right, everybody, welcome to my district. I am House Representative 22. If you drove in here today, you went all through my district. My district starts in Albuquerque, goes all the way out to the edge of Edgewood, goes all the way out to Clonch. Everybody here should know where Clonch is, right? If you don't know where Clonch is, you're in trouble. I'm not voting for you. It goes all the way. I have all the land grants. I got everything. And those, I feel like there's a truck coming at me right now. So what I wanted to say to you guys, because I'm going to talk specifically to the candidates. You guys are running here today because you care, right? If you're running for fame, if you're running to be called commissioner, if you're running to be called judge, if you're running for any of those reasons of power or glory or anything, quit. I mean that with all my heart, because when you get into this position, it is extremely difficult and very taxing. I don't know how hard, you guys understand how hard this is. You are about to get ripped apart, torn apart. You're going to have people come at you with all kinds of lies, all kinds of things against you. And you know what you do? You say, I don't care. You absolutely do not care. Why are you running? Because you care. You care about this state. You care about this district. You care about everything here. And that is why you're running. One of the other things you're going to have to do when you get elected is you're going to have to check your moral compass all the time. Do not sell out. Do not sell yourself short. Do not say, oh, I'm going to go along to try to get your bill passed. I don't care if any of my bills get passed, as long as I don't have to sell my soul. Because that's what's going to matter for every single one of you guys here, is to stick to your guns, literally. Stick to your guns, and just remember, it's really easy to make everybody angry once you get elected. Seriously. You're going to make everybody angry because somebody's going to have a single issue, and it's going to be the most important issue in the whole world. And you know what? You do your best. Because let me tell you all the things that I'm dealing with right now. I have an issue in Edgewood where they don't have a fire department. I've been negotiating the deals with Senator Thorpe. We're all working behind the scenes trying to get that to happen to them. Hours long of work to do that. We had the well issue in Estancia. I had Harris want to put a truck stop right on the beautiful 14, a giant truck stop. There is always something that's going to go on, but remember why you're running. Because you care about the people. At the end of the day, you have to remember, even if you're on the phone all day, and by the way, I don't know if you know, as representatives and senators, we don't get paid, by the way. We're one of, I think, the last 2 states that don't get paid. We do this because we care. We're on the phone all day trying to solve problems, and that's your job. You're taking that on. And if it gets to be too much, pray. If it gets to be too much, talk to somebody. But you have to keep going with what you're doing. Because there's a lot of things that have to be done. In case you don't know, there's a lot of things that are broken here in New Mexico. We talked about the crime issue that's been brought up. We have tried to deal with that repeatedly, and it doesn't go anywhere. There's some days I literally want to hit my head against the wall because I've tried to fix CYFD, I've tried to fix the crime issues, I've tried to do everything that's good for New Mexico, including us making better in our schools. And sometimes it's like talking to that cute little cow out there. Win one ear and out the other, and I just get moo. So there are things that you have to do without ever selling your soul. For example, we needed some water. We needed some emergency funding. I got that for a district out here in Torrance County. Their wells went dry. We had the issue. They wanted to close the detention center. Representative John Block and I waited up the whole 3 hours. We debated that to try to stop it. And they tried to sue, and they still couldn't close the detention centers here. Because guess what? I had talked to the powers that be, and they said, we don't have to deal with you. But now we have no oversight from our county commissioners. And the people who work there are going to find out they're not going to get all the benefits they had before. It was a loss, but it was a win at the same time. At least they get to stay open. Now, did you also know that when I was there in the middle of the night, I got an amendment slip through with unanimous support? I know that's hard to believe. I got Democrats and everybody on board. It was for Torrance County. You guys were about to get hurt so bad. If they were going to close a detention center, you were not going to get GRT. You were going to get nothing. So in the middle of the night, I called a bunch of Dems. I said, this is not fair. I need help. And they actually did. They called the governor, made every single call. So you guys ended up with little short of the $1.8 million. In case the detention center did close, you would still have that funding. But that took a lot of work with a lot of connections. And guess what I didn't do? I never said, oh, I'll vote for your bill if you do this. Not once did I ever say that. So before I get kicked off the stage here, and very important, the gun bill got murdered. I don't know if you guys saw me. I went viral. It's got like 1 million views. I had a stack of 85,000 petitions on my desk. I had to fight to put on my desk. I said, hell no, those petitions are staying on my desk. I talked about them, talked about the issues. They stayed on and went viral. So that was an amazing thing. We spent a lot of hours killing that. But real quick, before I go, I want to talk about how I met. Okay, I want to make sure Larry's still there. I can't see him. I want to talk real quick about how I met Larry. It's the same way I met Amy Barella and the same way I met Letitia. Did you guys know that there was a patriot movement about 8 years ago? We started the patriot movement. Right? So Larry and I didn't know him from Adam. He called me about this thing called referendums. We were sending all these referendums, trying to get the bills on there. And everything we did, the Secretary of State, boo. She sent them all back. I said, you didn't have a period here. You had the wrong word. She kicked back to run the timeout. But we kept fighting on that. We had 33 counters. We had thousands of people, including all the sheriffs. Remember all the rogue sheriffs? That was us. I started in the patriot movement. I started as an activist. I'll always be an activist. And I don't care who stands up to me. Unless you're standing with God and the truth, get out of my way. So I'm going to tell you, when Larry told me he was getting on there, I was so excited because he and I have seen a lot of things in this world. I've been through a lot of things. And don't ever forget, that's where Letitia and Amy, they all started with the patriot movement. And don't ever forget that, because that's why we're here. We started to fight, and we will end this fight. And I want to thank all you guys for coming, and thank you for being here tonight.